The title of today's story is The Smart Merchant. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was two very famous merchants, and they had a caravan, which means a lot of trucks and vans, of about 500 each. Now, they both had to go across the desert to go sell their merchandise in the other town or village. And so they decided to say, look, if we go at the same time, that's not a good idea. It's too much. We should separate and take one by one. And so they talked and said, we should decide who's going to go first, who's going to go second. The first guy starts thinking, if I go first, I get to drive on top of like fresh ground where the ground is, there's no marks in the ground yet. And my animals can eat the grass first. And then when we get there, we can set the price first. I'm going to go first. It's my advantage. And so he got excited, says, I want to go first. The second guy thought about it and says, well, there's a benefit to both. There's a benefit to going first and there's a benefit to going second because it's impermanent. And so he thought about it. What's the benefit of going second? Well, the first thing is the road will already be flattened because of the other cars that already went. Secondly, the first guy's animals will eat all the grass, but it'll be all the old grass. And then the new grass can grow, and then my animals can eat the fresh grass. And then when we get there, I don't have to set prices because he already haggled and argued about the prices. I can just sell for whatever price that's already set. So he says, I'll go second. And so the first merchant started going across the desert. And they brought, let's say, 50 containers of water for their whole group. And they were rationing and drinking just a little bit of water each day. After many, many days, they were in the forest. They were in the desert. And they were getting kind of like thirsty and tired. Suddenly, there was a group of, let's call them monsters, who wanted to try to eat them and capture them in the desert. And so they came up with a trick. They transformed themselves into humans with a big caravan, beautiful white-colored animals, and just looks amazing. And they made their hair wet, and they made their clothes wet, and they came up to the caravan and says, hey guys, are you going the same way as us? Yeah, there's going to be an oasis with a lot of water nearby. We just came back from there. Look how wet we are. And the caravan, the merchant leader says, wow, really? There's water over there? Yeah, we'll go with you. He says, well, you know what? It'll take too long if you have so much water. Just dump your water out now, and then we can get more water ahead. He's like, oh, okay. It'll be faster that way. And so they dumped out all their water. And then they started traveling the way that they said. But guess what? There was no water. They started traveling for 1 day, 2 days, and then they ran out of water. And when they were super thirsty and super tired and weak, that's when the monsters attacked and killed all of them. Now, about a month later, it was the turn of the second merchant to come. He started going the same path. And the same thing. The monsters saw him and they said, oh, we want to eat them too. So they tried the same trick. But this merchant was smart. He didn't just think about getting more. He was also careful. So he says, looking at you guys, it's very strange that you would have so little supplies. You're traveling in the desert, but you don't have that many supplies. Plus you say that there's so much water and you want us to dump out our water, but we don't see it. So why would we trust you so easily? And so the ogres and the monsters knew that he knew. So he says, get out of here. You're not going to capture us. You're not going to eat us because we're going to be careful. And as they kept going, they found the remains of the other caravan. And so because he was careful, because he didn't believe everything everyone else said, and he was prepared, he ended up getting both caravans. And then he ended up taking it to go sell and made double the profit. And so what does this story teach you? The story teaches you not to be blinded by greed. Don't just listen to people who are trying to give you this, give you that. You have to be careful. Stay protected. Keep yourself protected. And don't be blinded by your greed and what you want. You have to make sure that you don't get in trouble also. Because if you get in trouble and you make a big mistake, it might be very hard to come back from that. Satu.